positive change. You know, if you go to the Unity website, which is unity.org, and you click on the thing that says, "What is unity?" This is what you see up there. Unity is a positive, practical, progressive approach to Christianity. Sounds good, doesn't it? Positive, practical, progressive. Those are great things, but words are important, right? Words have meaning. So the question is, what exactly do we mean by that? Positive, practical, and progressive. And some people are a little bit surprised to see the word Christianity up there, because I know more than a few people think that unity means that we practice all faiths. Well, I got to tell you, I think it would take more than one lifetime to master the teachings of just one faith tradition, much less to make the claim that we actually practice all faiths. What we do here is we honor all faiths. We've got these wonderful t-shirts, and on the back of the t-shirts it says, "Many paths, one God." We study other spiritual traditions because we want to get to know them. We want to get to understand them. Knowledge is what leads to understanding, and understanding is what enables us to get along better. Now, you take a look at a lot of the different paths leading to God. You know, one God and many paths. Those paths have a lot of similarities, but they also have some really big differences. And it's okay. It's okay. We want to learn how to love our similarities and our differences, because our positive message is that different is not dangerous. Different is not dangerous. Different is wonderful. Different is what makes this a beautiful and compelling and exciting world. So we embrace differences. We don't see it as something that's dangerous. And when we learn how to embrace our differences, we learn how to get along better. We learn how to thrive together. And that's how we get to the point where we are able to co-create that world that works for all. It's our positive message. Positive doesn't mean, though, that we wear rose-colored glasses, okay? Positive means that, yes, we have a positive view of humankind, we have a positive view of our potential, but we also see the reality in the world, and part of that reality is that our differences sometimes can and do divide us, right? Our differences divide us. And a couple of the major differences that really can divide us is religion and our concepts of God. I mean, think about it. Over the eons of human existence, how many wars have been started in the name of God or in the name of a particular concept of God, right? Persecution, oppression. So we accept the reality that we have these kinds of differences. Now, there's a group of people out there that are becoming known as, I think they're being called neo-atheists. You heard of Richard Dawkins and Sam Harris and Christopher Hitchens? They've written these books in the past couple of years. Their attitude is that, well, we should just get rid of the concept of God and religion altogether, which is totally naive because that ain't going to happen. The world is not going to give these things up. And so maybe we ought to shift our perspective, and instead of saying get rid of religion and spirituality and God, maybe what we need is better religion, deeper spirituality, perhaps a more mature and enlightened concept of what God is all about. Let's rewrite it. Let's reframe it. Again, that's part of our positive message in unity. Is the world ready to outgrow this concept of God as this sort of a supernatural bean counter up in the sky who's sitting there tallying off every little mistake that you make, every little fault that you have? This God who, according to some traditions, is actually going to torture you if you don't get your theology correct during your lifetime. If you're politically incorrect when it comes to theology, you're going to burn in hell. There's people that teach that. And I have to tell you that if that was my only choice of a concept of God, I'm an atheist. Count me in. I would be an atheist if that was my only choice, but it's not our only choice. That's what we're here to say. We like to give God a little more a little more credit than that. You know, don't you think God can do better than creating a universe where people have to be kept in line by fear of divine punishment? We think so. You know, what good is it if the only reason that I'm kind and generous is because this supreme being has some sort of a metaphysical gun pointed at my head? What good is that? You know, that's not God. That's Tony Soprano. That's mafia stuff. That's extortion. This isn't a universe of coercion. This is a universe of divine order, and it's especially a universe of freedom. We teach that the greatest gift we have as human and spiritual beings is our freedom of choice. So in truth, we're free to behave as badly as we can imagine. Think about that. In truth, we are free to behave as badly as we can imagine. We've got a God-given right to choose to be wrong. Isn't that a fact? Call it sin, call it error thinking, whatever. It's our choice. It's our responsibility. We make the choice. We are responsible for the ramifications of our actions and our choices. Think about it. If we're not free to choose to be wrong, then are we truly free at all? And if we aren't free, then what's the alternative? Well, the alternative is something called determinism. Determinism or predestination, where supposedly everything is laid out and planned out in advance, and then what we do is we turn God into this supernatural cosmic puppet master who's sitting up there pulling the strings and doing everything and making us do these things, taking free will totally out of the equation. It creates this idea of a rigged game. It reduces us to merely cogs in a machine. And again, if that were my only choice of a concept of God, call me an atheist.